This is a recording of lesson 5.3, Decimals and Fractions. This lesson is a part of Math 020 pre-algebra course taught at St. Louis Community College. The recording is made by Dr. Victoria Shearing. In this lesson, we are going to we're going to accomplish two main objectives. The first is we will convert fractions into decimals, and the second objective is to solve problems with decimals and fractions. So we're going to start with a recap of what operation a fraction represents. When you look at the fraction, and here we have an example, 12 over 4, you can treat the fraction as a division. So you know that 4 goes into 12 3 times. So if you actually represent that as division, 12 divided by 4, you will have your answer as a 3. Okay. So converting fractions into decimals is easy. All you have to do is use the division, divide numerator by denominator, and then you will have your decimal number. So we're going to do a couple of examples. Example 1, we have 4 divided by 25. So we're going to set it up as a long division. So let's go ahead. So this is going to be our answer, and let me go ahead and set up the long division right here. So I have a 4 and I have 25. All right. So one thing I know that 25 does not go into 4, so I'm going to put my 0, and I am done with the whole part of this problem, because now I run out of whole numbers. I need to put the decimal point, and then I'm going to add a 0 after the decimal point, which is, as we learned in the previous lesson, trailing zeros don't change the number, and we can add as many of them as we need for our division. So now I'm looking at the problem, and I'm asking myself, how many times 25 goes into 40? 25 goes into 40 exactly one time. So you're going to have 25. Subtract 25, you will have 5 and 15. So now we're looking at 15. So we cannot leave a remainder. So we're going to add another 0. Fill in another 0, bring it down. And now the problem we're looking at figuring out how many times 25 goes into 115. I would guess a 6, and then 6 times 25 gives you 150. And now that we subtracted, we got a 0 as we don't have any remaining numbers to divide. So we got our numbers, 0.16. Okay. Moving on to the next problem, we have 3 divided by 50. So we're going to set up our long division, 3 divided by 50. So again, 50 does not go into 3, so we will not have any whole number results. So everything's going to be a decimal. Put the decimal point right in a 0, and now treat this number as 30. So 50 still doesn't go into 30, so we need to write another 0. Now let's add another 0 to 3.000. So now we're looking at the 300. And 50 does go into 300 6 times. Okay, so I'm going to have 300 minus 300. You do not have any remaining numbers, so you've got your answer as 3 divided by 50 as 0.06. So that was all the positive numbers. Now we have the negative in front of the fraction. So that negative belongs to the entire fraction. So what we're going to do is we're just going to put that negative sign in the answer and then divide the numbers as indicated, 68 by 25. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. So I need a little bit more space. 68 divided by 25. All right, so I know that 25 does go into 68 two times because 25 times 2 is 50. All right, then I have 18. All right, at this point, I ran out of the whole numbers, so I'm going to place the decimal point in the problem and in the answer and write in a 0. So now I'm looking at 180, and I need to figure out how many times 125 goes into 180. So I am going to go for 7. Okay. So 5 times 7 is 35. 2 times 7, 14, and plus another 3, 175. So you have 5 left over. So bring another 0, write in another 0, bring that 0 down. And now we can easily say that 25 goes into 50 2 times. And now we don't have any digits left over. So remember when we did the whole number division, we could leave the remainder. Now with the decimals, we actually have to complete the division until there are no numbers left over. So the official answer for this problem is negative 68 over 25 is negative 2.72. That's your final answer. Okay. Moving on to part D, you have negative 6 and 5/8. Because it's a mixed number, you do not need to convert that into a fraction, into improper fraction. I apologize. So you can just write negative 6 as a whole part, put your decimal point, and then figure out what's 5 over 8, because you only need the fractional part to be divided to get your decimal part. Okay. So let's go ahead and do 5 divided by 8. All right, so obviously we'll start with a 0 because 8 does not go into 5. 8 does go into 50 6 times. So we get 48 because 6 times 8 is 48. Then we have the 2. So I need another 0, so I'm going to make that a 20. 8 goes into 20 2 times. So that will get me 16. So looks like I need another right in 0 because 20 minus 16 is 4. Bring another 0 for 40. And then I have the 5. 8 times 5 is 40. So this is what will give me the 0 after like no more remaining numbers. So negative 6 and 5/8 is going converted to decimal number is negative 6.625. So all we did in our division problem right here is we found the decimal part. We already had the whole part. So that is your official answer. All right. We have a couple of more problems to go through. All right. So we have 58 divided by 11. So let's go ahead and set up that problem. So maybe I'm going to start right here. 58 divided by 11. All right, so 11 goes into 58 4 times. I probably need to bring it down a little bit so I have more space. So 58, 11, I have 4, so that means 44. And that would be 14. So we are out of whole numbers. So start getting your zeros. So 140. Ooh, it's not. So let's backtrack. That was the wrong answer because we had 14 left over out of it, and we divided by 11. So let's do it again. The number was too small. Okay, so one more time. 58 divided by 11. 11 goes into 58 5 times. So we get 55. And we will have 3 left over. So that's more like it. Now we're going to look at this problem again. So fill in your 0. Okay. Yeah. So I don't have enough space. Let me start all over again. I'm sorry. There's just not enough space for me to write this problem. Let me see where I need to start. Maybe I'll start right here. Yeah, I'll start right here. So 5.55, 3. Yeah, that should give me enough space. I just don't. I'm surprised I did not give enough space, left enough space for this problem on the paper. All right, so we're looking at the 30. So again, it's 2. So we're going to subtract 22. We're going to have 8 left over. So another 0. So that's going to be 7. 77, and then you subtract 80 minus 77, you have a 3. Now if you do the 30, you're going to get your 2 again, and then it's going to be 7. So basically it's repeating 2 7. So we're going to cut this short and put the repeating bar over 27, because you already see the pattern. It's going to vacillate between 3 left over and a 7 left over and an 8 left over, and then you're going to be going between 2 and 7, and there's going to be that, there's no way to break out of that pattern. All right, so 58 divided by 11, you are having 5.27 and 27. Both digits repeat, so your repeating bar is over 2 digits. That means that the pattern is 2 7 2 7 2 7 2 7. Okay. Sorry for the mess here. All right, so the last one of this series. So I'm going to free myself some space here, so I have something to work with. All right, you have -2 and 7/12. Okay, so I am going to leave -2 alone, and then I'm going to figure out the decimal part. So I'm going to divide 7 by 12. So let's go ahead and do that. 7 divided by 12. So obviously 12 doesn't go into 7. So we don't have anything for the whole part. 12 does go into 70 5 times. So we have 5, and that would be 60. Okay, so you have 10 left over. Bring your next 0. 12 goes into 108 times. So that'll give you 12 times 8 is 96. And then you have 4 left over. So bring another 0 down. So now we're looking at 40. 12 goes into 43 times. So that would be 36. And we have another 4 left over. And now I see my pattern. It's going to be another 40, another 36, and so forth. So the 3 gets to be repeated. So that's our answer, -2 point, and then the decimal part, 5, 8, and 3, which is repeating. So these are our answers for the problems. All right, so that is the first objective for this lecture, how to convert between fractions and decimals from fraction to decimal. And the part 2 of our problem is to solve problems that involves decimal numbers and the fractions. So in order for us to do problems like this in example 2, we will have to convert our fractions into decimals and then either add, subtract, or multiply, whatever we ask to do. All right, so we have three examples, 3 problems to do, and we will be done with this lesson. All right, so we're going to look at the 1/4. Well, 4 goes into 1, so 1/4 That's an easy one. It's kind of a shortcut. 1 over 4 is 0.25. So you would do your division, and then you have, after you convert 1 over 4, which is 1 divided by 4 equals 0.25. So you have 0.25 plus 10.75. All right, so let's go ahead and line them up. 10.75 plus 0.25. So this is a 10. This is a 10. 1, 1, 11. So 1/4 plus 10.75 gives you 11. So we have 9 over 20. So we need to figure out what is 9 over 20. So let's go ahead and divide 9 over 20. Doesn't go into 9. Goes 4 times into 90, which gives you 80. 10 left over. Get another 0, and 5 times into 100. All right, so the 9 over 20 is 0.45. Okay, so it's not 9 over 20 now, it's 0.45. So you have 3.9 plus 0.45. Let's go ahead and do that. 3.9 plus 0.45. So let's line it up. Remember, when you're adding, you have to line up by the decimal number, by the decimal point. So that needs to line up. So you have the 5, you have the 13, you have the 4. So the answer to part B is 4.35. And we have the last problem. Okay, I'm going to erase the previous space so I have a little bit more space to work on. So I'm going to convert 21 over 40 into a decimal. Okay, so to erase this part right here. You can always go back in the video and get that part. All right, so first is going to be 21 over 40. So you have the 0, and look at 210. We're going to go for 5, so it's 200. 10 left over, so another 0. So we're going to do 2, which is 80. 20 left over, so we'll get another 200. You know what that means? 5, 200, got a 0. All right, so 21 over 40 now is 0.525. Okay. All right. So we just need to add 6.29. So that's our step number 2. 6.29 plus 0.525. Fill in a 0, any missing parts if you need to. So 0 plus 5 is 5. 2 plus 9 is 11. So 1, 2, and 5, that's an 8. Decimal point, and you have 6. So the answer to part C is 6.815. 815. Here's my correct answer. And then this concludes lesson 5.3. Thank you for watching.